About 10 years ago, I had a conversation with Steve Jobs when I worked at Apple, and he asked the question of me that really intrigued me. He said, how does Apple do well by doing good? And at the time, I'd never heard that phrase before. I'd never connected this idea of charity and commercial. I'd never even thought that there was a grey area between the two. Fast forward 10 years, I've always played soccer. I've always coached soccer. I've got 3 kids, they play. I'm standing in a sports store with my eldest son. He wants to buy a ball for his mate for a birthday. And he says, you know what, none of these balls are I don't like any of these balls. They're all like, Barcelona ball, Manchester United ball, Ronaldo ball. He's like, I don't care about these teams, I don't care about these players, I just want a ball. The game has been completely hijacked by the big brands, and the ball, which is essentially the game, has just become merchandise for their latest marketing campaign and whatever. It doesn't mean anything anymore. I then went home and I looked at my back garden. There was probably about 10 or 12 balls just sort of underneath the bush and in the garden. The dog had chewed one. Like, we never really thought about it. And then I did think about it, and I was like, well, hang on a minute. I grew up in northern England, and I didn't grow up in poverty, but getting a new ball was quite special. Not everybody had one. And I was like, you know what? There's kids all over the world that would kill for one of these balls in my garden, let alone a brand new ball that was theirs. So then I started just thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, there's an opportunity here to put a ball and a brand on the shelf that competes on design and appeal, competes on quality, competes on price, but has a very different message to send to the kids, and that's one of inclusion, one of opportunity, and it might be that the kids choose to buy that ball, and rather than a Nike ball because it just looks cooler, or it might be that because of the story. Either way, they're getting a little bit of that social consciousness that I wanted to seed into my kids, and maybe that might manifest itself later on in life, and they might do a cool social startup, or they might do something else, and hopefully the world will be a better place for it.